if you actually want to do something, you will just do it. That's what I think. I feel like when love comes, you get it with your both hands, because then you just know, you don't know.
Even you saying hitchhiking, I mean, people are watching. Ya Ali, oh, what's she doing? Like, please, no.
I've hated being Iranian many times. Every time at a border that they would judge. First of all, they can't open your passport because it opens from right to left. Then when they open your passport, finally they see your photo with the scarf, and then they look at you in the eyes, and I'm like, there, hi, just like now, like with a backpack.
The fact that you have tears in your eyes right now.
I haven't still had time to process.
But where do you think the emotion is? What do you think? Which part of that would bring tears to your eyes?
For all of us to know that we're not alone.
It's August 7, 2025. This is Rook. Hi there, welcome to episode 384 of Rook. I'm Jian Ghomeshi. Hello to you from Toronto. Hello to you from Canada. Salam Dustan Aziz. Durud bar shoma. Hope you're doing well wherever you are tuning in from around the world and joining us. This edition of Rook is about breaking borders, not just the physical kind, but the mental, cultural, and personal ones too. It's about leaving everything you know behind to chase meaning in the unknown. And it's about the kind of courage that doesn't shout, it simply keeps going. Today's guest has made an entire life so far out of going further, geographically, spiritually, and emotionally, than most of us would dare. She's not just traveling, she's exploring. She's not just surviving, she's evolving. Melica will be joining me here in the Rook studio for a feature interview. If you follow her, if you've seen her on social media, her chronicling of her travels, you know just how special she is. If you have not become acquainted with her style of, her documentarian style of chronicling her experiences and her emotions, you will likely be glad to have been introduced to her. So, Melica coming up. You don't want to miss it. But first, a special announcement. It is time for another Rook Live. Rook Live 5 this time, which rhymes. Rook Live 5. Rook Live is when we do the show in its grandest and most variety-laden version in front of a live audience in a theater. We started it about a year and a half ago in a small theater and did Rook 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've reached to Rook Live 5. On next week's edition of Rook, I will be announcing the lineup for Rook Live 5, and it is, not to take anything away from the previous Rook Lives that we've had, but it may be our most exciting lineup yet. It's quite exciting to be thinking about announcing this to you guys. We'll announce the lineup here on the show next week, and the exclusive way to get tickets in advance of announcing Rook Live 5 on our social media platforms. So we won't announce on our Instagram, etc. We'll announce here first. Tune in next week, and you will get the advance on the tickets. You'll want to tune in for that. In the meantime, I can announce the date and the location of Rook Live 5. I'm sorry to those of you who don't live in the Greater Toronto area. All of the Rook Lives have taken place here, and we will eventually be doing this in different parts of the world. But for now, this is another edition that's going to be in the Greater Toronto area. Rook Live 5 will take place on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, Thursday, October 2, and it will happen at the fabulous theater that is the Richmond Hill Center for the Arts. So if you're a Torontonian, and particularly if you're in the Iranian diaspora, you know Richmond Hill. It is just north of Toronto, just above the border there, and this is the biggest theater around those parts. It's called the Richmond Hill Center for the Arts. We are very excited about this. Rook Live 5, October 2nd. Save the date. Next week, we're going to tell you about getting tickets and the lineup. We are coming to you at rookmedia.com. That is our website. That's the hub of all things Rook related. rookmedia.com, where you can see back episodes, interviews, guests, debates, funny videos, and our entire contemporary history of Iran series. If you are watching us on YouTube, we ask you to hit the like button as a subscribe if you want to, if you've not done so yet. And if you regularly watch us and want to support what we do here in the world of independent media, you can press the little thanks button near the like button on YouTube there. It says thanks, and donate to us, which is always appreciated. Any amount at all helps us do what we do. You can also find us on our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, CastBox. You can follow us on Instagram at Rook Media and on Telegram in both English and Persian. Let's get to our feature interview. All right, let's get to our featured guest. She is a traveler who doesn't just cross borders, she breaks them. A storyteller who doesn't just post photos, she shares purpose. And an Iranian woman who has done what many would call unthinkable, left comfort behind, faced the unknown, and journeyed across mountains, jungles, deserts, and borders solo. Her name is Melica. Online, you may know her as Melica, a fearless adventurer who has carved a path through Latin America and beyond with nothing but a backpack, a bold spirit, and a relentless thirst for meaning. At a time when many still ask if it's safe for women, especially Iranian women, to travel alone, she's out there doing it, documenting her journey, defying expectations, and quietly becoming an icon of courage in a culture where risk-taking by women and men is still often questioned, if not outright discouraged. She's also just published her first memoir in Farsi. So what drives a young Iranian woman to leave everything she knows behind and embrace the world in its rawest, most unpredictable form? What does it mean to find freedom, not just in distant lands, but within yourself? And what has she learned along the way about identity, solitude, and the strange beauty of never fully belonging anywhere? Right now, the bold-hearted explorer Melica Bokaie joins me in the Rook studio. Hello.
Hi, thank you very much.
It's so nice to have you here. Merci Komadi.
No, you're welcome. I'm so glad to be here
You
today.
don't often do, I haven't seen a lot of interviews with you in English.
I would love to do more, actually. Yeah, I would love to do more in Spanish, in English.
But you are multilingual at this point. You obviously speak Persian. I know you have a great facility in Spanish.
Yes.
And English.
English. Yes, my mother is an English teacher. I was speaking English since I was 3 years old. And I teach English to kids, actually, in Mexico. And also all these years I've been working with kids and I've been teaching to them. It's just that where I live, everybody's a Spanish speaker, and then online it's all Farsi. So
you now live in Mexico.
Yes.
Right? I was curious. I mean, so are those? Do you speak other languages too, or are those the three?
No, these are the three that I'm fluent in. I understand a lot of Portuguese, but I do not speak yet.
And I mean, we're going to get into your story, but when you first left Iran. So it sounds like you did know how to speak English.
Definitely,
Did you know how to speak Spanish?
No, not even a word.
So you were, I'm assuming, you didn't, to be clear, you didn't leave Iran and end up in like North Toronto or San Diego where there's a bunch of Persians.
No,
you went to places where there are distinctly a lack of Persians. So I'm guessing the first language that you used to get around would be English.
Definitely,
in the beginning.
Yes.
But you now think and sleep, you say, in Spanish.
Yes, Spanish. English I did when I was in Iran as well. I would read in English, sleep in English, dream in English, think in English, and now I do it in Spanish as well, since like maybe a year ago, very recently, yeah.
And what does it mean to dream in Spanish or dream in English versus dreaming in Persian?
It's very interesting because at the same time that it's all me, it's like I'm three different persons also, like because you don't translate in your head. When I speak to my friends in Spanish or in English even, I don't translate from Farsi to English. I just think in English. So it's like a different version of me, right? But at the same time, it's interesting because it's like living 3 lives in one life, living 2 lives in one life. It's
so fascinating that you say that, and so timely, because our last episode, we just had an episode on language where we talked about, where we asked the question, are you a different person in a second language? because this is something that a lot of Iranians face who come here and they feel like when they're speaking English, they're not the same person. And I feel that way when I'm speaking Persian. It's still me. But the question that was germane to that was, is it a separate identity, or is it unlocking a different version of you? Sounds like you believe these are all versions of you that are being unlocked by different languages.
Yes, I say it's the second one. It's like, it's not another person, but it's like another version of me. Yes.
So who is... describe the difference between Melica in Spanish and Melica in Persian.
Well, for example, Spanish, I never, like English, I always studied English, like very academically, always with books, classes. I've never been to a Spanish class. I just heard Spanish. I had to speak. I had no other choice. So I'm like less academic in Spanish also. So I don't know. I feel like my version in Farsi, it's more, definitely deeper in a way, but maybe a bit more spiritual. But also I feel like the words that I use in Spanish, I'm not there yet. It's like more easygoing, just like local. I don't know how to say it. Yeah.
I find close, intimate talk, like a friendship or a relationship talk, is hard in not your first language. Do you find that there's a challenge around, if you really, really want to connect with someone in Spanish, you can't do it the same way as you would in Persian? I
use different words. Like now at this point, I can connect, I can be fully myself. It's just that I still have more words in English and in Farsi. So maybe, and I will understand that, people won't get it. They're like, no, your Spanish is great. And I'm like, no, the way that I would say this or express this in Farsi, I would have more vocabulary for it. Yeah.
Are you more, this will go to the personality that we're going to learn about with you, but are you more free in a non-Iranian language? Yes,
definitely.
I would think so.
I feel that, yes.
And what, can give us an example?
I don't know. I feel like I'm very careful when I speak in Farsi because, again, I'm speaking always to Iranians, right? And I'm not careful. I catch myself like saying all these phrases or like not even thinking. But in Farsi, I'm careful about what I say or what I use. Yes.
It's a great advertisement for learning other languages. If you think about that, for people who are unilingual and are like, well, why would I need to, there's some Iranians who move here and
they never learn English.
They don't need to anymore, right? Where you had your book event the other day, it's all Iranian, so they can just work and sleep and live and whatever in Persian. But the fact that this unlocks a whole other side of you, that there can be a freedom that comes with another language, is quite remarkable.
It is, if you want to, like, it's just entering exactly like a whole different world. There are jokes, there are memes, like now on social media, I'm like, oh my God, I watch stand-up comedy a lot, and I'm like, oh my God, I can enjoy all of this like Latino comedy, and I feel that I can feel them because I grew up there since I was 20. I've been living in Latin America, right? You said you grew up here. So I feel the same with like Latinos. I feel like in a way, I don't belong anywhere. Part of me belongs to them, or I see myself as one of them because I grew up there all my 20s, all my adulthood. But I'm like, I'm enjoying all this literature, all this music, all this stand-up comedy, all this art. And it's amazing.
Part of the art, we share the same favorite author. Marquez, Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Yes, of course.
Since I was basically in my early 20s, he's my guy. Now, did you discover him after Latin America?
No,
in
before.
Iran.
In Iran,
really?
Yes. I read 100 Years of Solitude and his short stories back in Iran in Farsi. And a year ago, I read 100 Years of Solitude in Spanish. And I was like crying. I can't believe I'm understanding this because it's difficult. It's a difficult book. Yeah.
And same intensity. Well, obviously.
Yes.
What about Love in the Time of Cholera?
I like that. I read that in Farsi also in Iran.
Wow.
I haven't read that in Spanish.
Okay, I'm very impressed. Gabriel Garcia Marquez in Farsi. I'm impressed. Let me start by we've started, but I'm there's so much with you sitting here that I want to get to. Seeing you at your book launch, your Toronto book launch, or your North of Toronto book launch the other day. One of the things that I found, which, by the way, was also multilingual, was interesting. There were people there asking questions in English. There were, of course, a lot of people speaking in Persian. There were some people Spanish-speaking people there, which must feel good. I mean, you've crossed over, as they would say in pop music. You know, you're not just you don't just have the hits in one language. I was touched by the relationship that people have with you, people who I presume have never met you before, but based on what they see in social media, based on what you post, feel incredibly close to you. I mean, and you are so incredibly gracious. You stood there, you hugged everybody who came up to you, you gave of yourself. But the fact that they feel that close to someone that they've never met in person, must be very interesting for you. Talk to me about that.
Well, yeah, I'm still processing that. I'm not gonna cry, but I'm still processing because it's very intense, you know. Many of those people that you say, they've been reading me for 7 years. So it's not just from a post or a year or 2 or 3. It's been literally 7 years, many of those people that they come. So, and I was 20, you know, and I was just like writing, expressing myself, and they've been with me through ups and downs. But from my side, nobody, do you know, in the town that I live, nobody even knows I have an Instagram, you know, and I don't actually want people to know because I want them to like them for me, you know, my friends in Latin America, and I write in Farsi mostly on social media. So I was like, I don't know, on the road hitchhiking in Argentina, and like all these thousands of people, of course you see a number online, but to see that, to feel that in person, which this is what I'm experiencing on this tour, and I'm so glad that I get to actually see them, to appreciate this, all those moments that I was like, oh my god, I hate social media and all that, to appreciate it and see it in a different way. I'm still processing that. It's very intense, it's overwhelming. Most of the time I'm like, just hear it from one ear, and like, because it's too much. Like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like it's very good for my heart, sometimes I feel like it's very bad for my ego, you know. But those people that you say that you were touched by just seeing them, and I was just like, I couldn't believe what they were telling me. There are people who've been with me for almost a decade. So I feel like time is a very important thing in this thing, because yeah, it's been a long time.
So the fact that you have tears in your eyes right now,
I haven't still had time to process.
But where do you think the emotion is? Where do you think, which part of that would bring tears to your eyes?
For all of us to know that we're not alone, even though we are, like, in the, you know, I feel like I always wrote because writing, I never thought, oh my god, if I write this sentence, this amount of people are gonna like my, you know. But the fact that you just write whatever you are experiencing or you're feeling, and then you see that thousands of other people from other parts of the world, even in different situations, but they're feeling the same thing. And they tell you, thank you for writing, because now I know I'm not alone. And then by them saying that, I know that I'm not alone. So it's just, that's what I'm processing right now.
It's interesting, you know, like the biggest, you know, the big celebrities are the ones that, some of whom you sometimes feel like you think you know, but are on this pedestal because they put out an album that you loved, or they're in this movie that you think is amazing. But when I was, for years, I was on the radio every day, and I realized that people would have an intimacy with me because they were with me every day. And social media, what you do is next level. Like, you know, in terms of facilitating that, it's not just, you haven't just put out somebody's favorite album. You are with them every day, and you're giving of yourself, saying, here, this is who I am, this is what I just did, this is how that's making me feel. And so they've, as you say, they developed this relationship with you that you almost couldn't foster in any other way, and you couldn't foster in any other time. This is like directly related to the technology that we have now too, right?
Yes, and it was very different back then. Like, the algorithm was different, how we could share things were different. Direct messages didn't exist when I started writing DMs. And I had a Telegram channel, and I would write there because Instagram caption has a limit and Telegram doesn't. And then, like, maybe 1 or 2 years before COVID, they like they couldn't use Telegram inside Iran. So that's when I actually switched to Instagram. I wasn't actually sharing on Instagram. I was sharing on my Telegram channel, which is great because people cannot comment, or they can, so people just read, they have readers, but no comment, no likes, so, but then they couldn't access the Telegram in Iran at a point. I don't know if it was 2018, 19. So then I switched to Instagram, and that's when it all happened. And no stories. I remember the first time the stories came up. So things have changed the way we can, and the fact that people read still, because I write mostly. I'm not a.
Yes.
I love
it's
to be
not
in
just
front
a
of
caption. You actually writing. Yeah.
I write, and I'm not. I love to be in front of the camera. I studied theater in Iran, and I love to be on stage, and I like to be on the I like it, but I'm not good at videography, photography, and all that. So, and if you go through my page, you just know that it's just maybe a very normal picture of me somewhere that somebody took. Most of the time, I just give my phone. I'm alone. I give my phone to somebody. I'm alone in a new city, and I'm like, can you please take a picture of me? There's not like I'm preparing for my Instagram post. But the fact that people still do read, it's also very interesting to me.
But this is interesting to me that you're saying, you were intimating just a moment ago that this tour is the first time that you've really I mean, surely you know how popular you are based on all the likes and things that you get in social media, but you're saying that it's a different experience to actually see the people in the real version, because it's true. I mean, anybody can get likes or buy likes or it's a very ultimately passive exercise, but to come and see you, it means that you really have broken through on some level to people.
I think so. I hope so. Yes, I don't know. And you live here. So people, where I live, that's the thing. Where I live in a very small town, 3,000 people in Mexico. I'm the only Iranian, and I'm an English teacher. Everybody knows me as Melica, the English teacher who works with kids. So I don't have that around me.
They don't know your social media?
They don't know. My friends, yes, they know, but again, they don't get it, or they know. I don't want them to know, first of all. I want, first my friendships, I want them to like them for me, and then if we switch Instagram, then they'll know, you have this much amount of followers. But no, nobody knows me for that. They know me like, the Iranian girl, or the teacher, the English teacher. That's it.
I was going to ask this later, but while we're at it, how have you decided to ethically walk the line, to be telling stories, showing pictures, videos, etc., of the people and places that you experience, without wanting to exploit those people and places for the sake of your digital platforms?
It's interesting. I'm always learning, so I'm always learning how to go. At the beginning, I would actually use people's names or my hosts. I would definitely not share a picture of them if I was writing about them a lot, or I would ask them before sharing a picture. This is 7-8 years ago, and I always wrote where I am or where I've been. This is the place that I'm volunteering, this small town in northern part of Chile, this small town in Argentina, blah blah blah. Until a few years ago, I feel like right around COVID or after COVID, where I don't like to tell people where I live, especially in Mexico. People go there a lot, and it's a very small town. They can find me easily, and Mexico is getting touristic just by itself,
sure.
And I don't want to expose to be oh my god, this is where I live, or it's beautiful, so come and visit here. So sometimes I don't put locations. Sometimes I write about people, or a person that I've had a conversation with, and I ask them first, but then I change their name if it is deep. In my book also I've changed many people's names, and many of them, they wanted their name, and I'm I don't know how many people are going to read this. Maybe 100, maybe 1,000, maybe 10. But I just feel I don't want to the tourism is also very interesting, because you don't want to tell, you go to a very rural area and you don't want to just put it on the map and be oh my god, people come here, because it will change that place. It will not be as authentic anymore.
That too, yeah.
So sometimes I don't share the locations, but then I feel oh my god, is this selfish? But I'm no, if people who have to come here will find it on their own way.
But I mean, have there been situations, over the course of 7 years, I would imagine there are, where you're with somebody, a young person, or an incredible old man that you've met or something, where you've said to yourself, I would love to post this, but I'm not going to?
Yes, a lot of times. A lot. I have many stories in me that I have not shared yet. I've written them and about people, and later, I know that later at another time, I have like 2 stories specifically that I know that the people told me that say it when I'm not alive, but they're like in their 80s. So yes, many times that I knew that it's just not the right time. Or sometimes it's only for you.
Yes.
Yes.
I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Actually, another way to put it is sometimes meeting someone or having a connection or seeing or experiencing something doesn't need to be documented forever. It can be that what it was, and it can live as a memory that fades or whatever in your brain, right?
And it will change you forever. So it's not that, because I would think that, oh my God, this is something that is lost. I wanted to share it, but then I'm like, no, this story, meeting this person, changed me. So it's actually in me.
Do you resent, or you're not going to say that, it's too harsh a word for you probably, you're too nice. Do you take issue with people who fly from Toronto to Peru to take a picture in front of an ancient artifact for Instagram and then fly home?
I don't at all. I feel like there's space for everybody. And if that's what makes them happy, that's for them. No, I don't at all. And I have many of my friends are like that. They like to travel like that.
Instagram tourism?
You're tourism.
Okay with that?
I don't follow it, right? I'm not like, oh my God, I'm so excited. You feel it also. But I'm like, it's, it definitely needs to be controlled. But what can we do, It's just how many things are right now. Or the other day, I feel like very few people, like there were 2 or 3 people who asked me how I am.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Instead of like, hi, I know, a lot of people were like waiting. I'm not expecting everybody to ask me how I am, but those 2 or 3 people that looked into my eyes and they were like, how are you? And then they started like, oh, now let's sign or let's take a picture. And that meant a lot to me, right? And then you realize who are the people who really want to see you. And of course, it's nice to document it, but who are the people who actually maybe they don't care as much, but it is just like just a photo or just a sign. Or this is this is a very small thing, but many people, you can go to like traveling is very different. You can go to many places, and that's where people, I have problem with this. Let me tell you one thing that I have, like people who say I've been to, and they're mostly non-Iranian people, because with Iranian passport it's very difficult to do that, impossible. I've been to 100 plus years in 2 years, 100 plus countries in 2 years. And then you're like, so what have you seen? So what have you learned from how long have you stayed in each country? So yes, I see
we've had that person on the show, actually.
Yes, I have problem with that, but at the same time, I feel like it's my thing, because there's space for everyone. We're all different. That's the way that person, that soul wants to travel and see the world. And maybe that experience gives something to him. It's not my way.
When people ask, how are you? I think that in itself is kind of an intimate question, right? But they feel comfortable asking that of you because you are undeniably real. Like that's the one thing that no one can take away from you. At least that from my, experience with your videos, your posts, etc. You seem very unaffected. You're just giving people who you are. And I'm curious to ask you whether, for most of us, like somebody takes a picture of us or we make a video and then we sit there going, oh, my fucking hair looks horrible. Like, I don't do I really want to put this out there? Or I look sort of stupid, or, I wouldn't have said that if I'd thought about it. How conscious are you of those things? Because you seem very free. You just show who you are. You're not dolled up or anything. How conscious are you of what you're posting?
I am and I'm not, people always write to me, like imagine the other day, one day that I was conscious and I'm like, oh my God, I did my hair, and I mean, it's just curly and it's all like long. But then I get these comments like, brush your hair. And I'm like, I did brush my hair, like, didn't I? So I'm conscious. I mean, I definitely try to look nice. I know that this side of my face looks better than this side. So I'm like, let's take it. Of course, but to be honest,
there's only so much so
care.
conscious you can be with the elephants or the giraffes. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, at the same time, I don't care if my nails are not like, I mean, now I don't do nail polishes. Like, I don't do it anymore. And just because of signing the book, somebody told me, and I'm like, okay, I have to do them. So like, you know,
somebody shamed you into getting your
yes,
nails.
and I love them, but at the same time, I'm like, are these my fingers? You know, so I definitely it's important for me to look nice, but at the same time, I don't care as much. You know, it's just supposed to, it's in the vastness of the universe. That's like,
you know, you're one of these people who a lot of people who are watching this or listening will know who you are, and some of them intimately will be have been following you for 7 years, and then there'll be others for whom this is a bit of an introduction. You know, I would probably say most of our audience maybe. So I forgive me for asking you some very obvious questions, but that you've answered before, no doubt. But can you briefly tell us how this began? You're this 19-year-old kid in Iran who embarks on, from what I understand at the time, you didn't know it was going to be a 7-year journey, but decides to get up and leave solo by herself. Talk to us about what you've discovered about that decision.
So I was a 19-year-old teenage girl who studied theater and was working in different theater groups as makeup artist, actress, backstage, on stage, director's assistant. And then I was also an English teacher. I didn't go to university. You know, I had my theater diploma.
Sorry, where were you?
In Tehran. Tehran, yes. I'm from western part of Tehran and born and raised there all my life. And I read this book about Rumi's life, and I went to Turkey, to Konya alone for a week. That was my first trip alone at the age of 19 years and like 3 months maybe. And that 1 week alone in Turkey, first of all, it gave me a lot of strength. I already knew that I'm independent, but I was living with my family, and I have 3 sisters, you know, all women. And I loved it. I loved being by myself. So then a few months later, I heard about this Nepal thing, and it was possible to save money. I didn't pay for rent, I didn't pay for electricity, right? I was earning money, I was teaching, I was working, and I used to just go to, first of all, I used to buy a lot of clothes, a lot of shoes. I was not a minimalist at all, and I used to like dye my hair and do my nails, and then go to like coffee shops and like eat all the like, yeah, spend it in different ways. Right. So when I didn't spend it, to be fair, you were a
teenager.
I was a teenager, but I did those with my own budget, those 2 trips, and then the second trip was to Nepal for this Vipassana course. That was a longer trip. Nepal is a bit more further, like it's a bit more far from Iran, and it was a 2-week trip and 10 days.
And you were already into meditation and all of that in Iran?
Not at all. That was like the beginning. So I first got to know.
So that was a shock to the system, going to Nepal for
completely. Yeah. My mom, you know, she was like, really? And I'm a vegetarian vegan right now, right? I'm a vegan right now for like the last 7 years, but I was a crazy meat eater, and my mom was like, do you know that she wanted to like make me not want to go?
Right,
so she was
right.
Like, do you know that they only serve vegetarian food? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be very difficult, but I think I can do it. Like, I don't know, it just felt like a challenge that I really needed. And I couldn't actually find an answer. I just knew that I feel like I need to go to this course, you know? So then in Nepal, I met this other young person, and she was my age, she was German, she was traveling and volunteering.
How long was the Nepal visit?
2 weeks only 2 weeks, and it was in July 2017. And then in Nepal, I saw many other backpackers, and I had a luggage. I didn't actually know what backpacking is. Right. So I learned that, oh my God, there are many other ways to travel, because I didn't like going to a hotel or a hostel, or I actually wanted to live with people. And I was like, oh my God, I can actually go to other parts of the world and live with locals.
So wait a minute, that part, was that always in you? The little adventurer? I mean, would somebody at 10 years old say, this girl is going to wants to go and explore the world?
No. What I had in me was that I could spend time with like 3-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 60-year-olds. I loved people, always.
That's evident, yeah.
Always. So, no, not at all. Cultures, like, we didn't have family trips outside of Iran.
Nepal, you like, why didn't you want to stay in a 5-star hotel? Like, why wasn't that part of your...
That wouldn't give me, at the age of 19, I wanted to see what life really means,
Well, that's not everybody does that, to be fair. I mean, that's especially at 19. Sorry, I cut you off then. Nepal, go ahead.
No, go on. But like, yeah, I mean, a 5-star hotel, still it doesn't give me. I'm like, I mean, if I was a couple, sure. But I'm like, alone, come on, I want to go and sleep on somebody's floor and they serve me tea in the morning and they tell me their story. That's why I feel like, oh my God, I'm alive, Waking up in a 5-star hotel will not make me feel like I'm alive. Unfortunately, I wish it was the other way.
Yeah, I got you.
No?
I got you.
But yeah, so...
What about a 4-star? No,
but yeah, and I just wanted to see, like, what's the world like, and especially Latin America, that I loved Marquez and I loved Shakira and I loved salsa dancing. I wanted to see what do they eat? No, what do they think? Do they believe in God? Do they practice any religion?
This was another question I had, by the way. Why does a girl in Iran get fascinated by Latin Shakira and salsa dancing, etc.?
I don't know. I feel like, these people that they say, I feel like, I don't know, I feel this connection to Nepal, to India. In Iran we have this, I feel this connection to, and I have this, for example, one of my cousins, she feels this connection to Paris, for example, to France specifically. Or
for me, it's Southeast Asia. Vietnam. Asia. I go there, I feel like this is my home. It makes no sense. Yeah.
So the same thing. Like, I at that age, first of all, I haven't been there, so I couldn't explain it to anybody why, but I just knew that I just gotta go there. And since I was 15, 16, I would hear, I wouldn't even understand a word of Spanish. I would hear Mark Anthony and something in my blood would move. And it was just, their music was fascinating, their stories, and it was so far. And the fact that we had no idea about those places, like I didn't have any idea. And yeah, like it's fascinating how things change a lot in like just shorter than a decade. No, now I feel like there's a lot more information online about Latin America. Back then there wasn't. And I just wanted to see, how they live, what they do, and something with, like, it was calling me. The only place on planet Earth that was very interesting to me, and I would think, like, if I only have one place to go, it would be South America. Like,
and how long do you think you're going for at that point when you're 19?
Well, I'm sure that I would be going for 3 months, because I could stay in Ecuador up to 90 days. I would think that if I could get other visas, probably 6 months to a year, but my budget was $1,500. So 3 months and maybe a bit more. That's what I would think.
And what was the conversation like with family at that point?
I feel like my mom would not believe it until the day that I actually left, because I would give her all the information. She's very spiritual, actually, and she's very open. But at the same time, she's a mother, and she really tried to convince me to go to other places, at least go to Southeast Asia, go to India, go to Africa, wherever you want to go. Don't go to South America.
Why was that?
So far, I realize, I feel like one of the reasons,
and also less familiar.
Less
for
familiar.
Iranians, you might say we know Thailand or India or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, but like Africa would be a 7-hour plane, and then that was like an 18-hour plane. Like Ecuador, western part of.
Yeah.
And they would laugh. Some wouldn't really believe it. I couldn't actually explain it to my friends, but most of the time I can say that it was like kind of a shock, but at the same time, like, be careful, I think you know what you're doing. They couldn't, like, I feel like I was so sure that I have to go. And the funny thing is that my mom really tried to convince me that I left December 5th 2017, and she said leave in Nowruz, like March, right? Like 6 months later. And I just don't know why. I was so sure, no, this is the time that I have to go. She's like, come on, stay 6 more months, you will save more money, live with $1,000 more. Like, but stay, like, wait a bit, like, process it. And I would be like, no, I just gotta go right now. 2 months later, the price of the dollar changed.
Wow.
Imagine, if I stayed, maybe I would have never left.
Was there either before you leave or when, first of all, how do you even know what to take? I mean, you're so, just all these practical things that, that now would be obvious to you with this veteran of 7 years, or even though you're still quite young. But at that time, I would think, I don't even know how I would pack, especially with the lack of experience that you had. But then I was going to also say, I mean, maybe we can answer that along with, did you have moments before you left, or at least in the first few days after you left, where you thought, I can't do this. This is, what am I doing?
Very, very good questions. At the same time, I want to say that I still don't know what to pack. I was coming to this book tour, and I'm like, oh my God, what is a writer? I'm a writer. What is a writer going to wear? So I still have that, I still don't know what to pack exactly. That's the thing. Like, people think that you have it all figured out, and I don't have anything. I have, and I don't, but I overpack. Like, I packed a lot of clothes, and then the 20th day I had to get rid of most of the clothes that I packed. So I had no clue.
Why did you have to do that? Just to travel lighter?
Exactly. Yeah. It was so heavy, unnecessary. Yeah. I wouldn't actually wear them. They were for the weather,
Did you bring like shoes and
yes, like shoes and like dresses, like right. Amazon. People just wear shorts on the top and barefoot, So yeah, I had to get rid of a bunch of clothes, and I just mostly clothes, and definitely I had no idea what to pack. That's the thing. Like, people, they think that they have to have figured it out, but for the person who actually wants to leave, that's the thing. Like, if you actually want to do something, you will just do it. That's what I think. You will not look for the perfect time and I have to know exactly what do you put in your backpack, and I'm like, just go if you really want to go.
How long did it take, and where were you when you realized, okay, this is something I want to do, and this may last a little longer than I thought?
Okay, but before this, I'm going to answer one of your previous questions that you asked me, that when I was waiting for my flight to Venezuela, when I was in Konya, that's one moment that I was like, what am I doing? Like, I was in Rumi's tomb, and then everybody's like whirling and crying, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting on this plane, 17 hours of flight. I already said goodbye to everybody. What am I doing? And then again, like, I looked around, and I'm like, I'll just get on the plane. The next step, I came all this way, just get on that plane. So yes, I definitely have had these moments. But to answer your next question, I feel like it was a year after. I was in Argentina. When I started my journey, I could only get to Ecuador and Venezuela with my passport, right? So by that point, after a year, I already went to Colombia, to Bolivia, to Peru, to Chile, and to Argentina. So I got 5 different countries opened the doors to me. So part of me knew that if you knock that door, and if you believe in that country, if you really have to go to that place, the country will open its doors to you, especially because Colombia and Argentina were two of the most difficult countries that I had to apply for a visa. It was so difficult to enter them, extremely difficult, the way they treated me. Yet I love those countries the most. But I was with these penguins in a Patagonian part of Argentina. I went to visit these penguins on my 21st birthday, and I just realized, first of all, that's the moment that I realized I should write this, but I knew that I'm in the middle of it, and I realized this is what I'm going to do. I don't know how. I don't know how long. I don't know if I'm going to go back to Iran and continue in other ways. Maybe I'm going to travel within Iran. But I'm going to travel, and I'm going to be on the road. And this is what I came here to do.
The penguins in Patagonia.
Penguins in Patagonia, yes.
You went to visit. I like the way you said it, as if they had invited you. I went to visit with the penguins. I mean, they were, well, I couldn't say no.
Yes, and it's funny because it's like this place. It's funny. Again, like talking a bit about money, people pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars to go to these tours, and you see like you're on this boat and you see penguins from far on this island, and then there's this place that very magically, when you live with people, you get access to places that only the locals know. That's the magic of traveling and volunteering and living with people, is that I was couch surfing with this girl, and she's like a guide, the tour guide. She's like, no, you don't. I was like, I would love to visit penguins one day, and she's like, no, you should do that on your birthday. And there's this place 3 hours south from here, $10 entry, and there's 1 kilometer, and it's called Punta Tumba, and you walk on this bridge. You cannot touch the penguins, but there are hundreds of thousands of penguins. They come from Antarctica every year, and then they go back to Antarctica. And when I hitchhiked there on my birthday, when I arrived there was no bus or anything, and then the first penguin that I met, it actually felt like they came and told me like, hi, like it was just walking, and it's just so close to you, you cannot touch it. They don't get so close to you, but you really want to go and hug them and touch them, but you can't. And they came and they were like, hi, and I'm like, oh my god, hi, thank you for inviting me. Places do invite you.
You know, one thing with the time that I have you here, I was thinking about this, that I'm not going to ask you about all kinds of specific places and adventures that you've chronicled, because people can go and discover those either in your book or on your Instagram feed, etc. And so I want to sort of ask you about some bigger learning curves that have come from your experiences. So let me start with, what have you learned about solitude?
Thank you. First of all, I love this word, and I think that solitude is very different from being alone or even feeling alone, and people really confuse those two, because in Farsi it's just tanha, like tanhai, tanha budan. It's just like we have better words for it, I feel like, in English. But I feel like we're all alone. We come alone, we leave alone, and most of the time we're running away from being alone, from that solitude, because we're too uncomfortable to be with ourselves. We're always looking for other people, a partner, going from one partner to another partner, or this or that, to a friend. Where most of us, we're very uncomfortable to just sit with ourselves and see what it is that we're feeling, or what emotions come up when you just sit by yourself for 10 minutes, or that's the thing that traveling alone gives you. Who are you really? Beyond those labels, when people don't know your name, nor your nationality, your age, your job, who are you if you take all of them out? Without your Instagram followers, who are you, and who do you think you are really, you know? So traveling alone definitely gave me that. But so I didn't know what I'm stepping into. It was not intentional to get to that solitude, but that solitude has taught me, first of all, when you are comfortable with yourself, you get this confidence that you can do anything. You can be especially in a different country, in a different language, and all that. You feel like, if I'm okay with myself and who I am, and if I can go anywhere, be with anyone, and if I'm with somebody, I'm actually with them for them, not to get away from myself, you know what I mean? And solitude is very painful. Like I remember I was again in northern part of Argentina. I have this like writing that I counted the days, and it was 400 days that I was traveling by myself, more than a year at that point. And I felt like nobody can really understand me, and it was so painful. I wanted to talk to my friends in Iran. I felt like they have no idea about what I'm going through. I have no idea about what they're going through, and I felt extremely alone. And I cried, and I cried lots. I cried and I cried and I cried. And then after crying, feeling all of that sadness, I realized, you know what? I'm alone, and we're all alone. But at the same time that I'm completely alone here, I'm not. There are people around me, and I'm comfortable. Like, I don't know if I can explain that, but it's like being comfortable in your own skin, 100%, and not needing any validation or anybody to be there for you, with you. But at the same time, it's not feeling alone, because you can be with 100 people and you feel like you're alone. So solitude is not feeling alone, it's knowing that I'm comfortable with myself, by myself.
Do you become a serial solitude person? In other words, like the person who has to always be in a relationship, are you the opposite? In other words, now that you've been doing this so much, do you, I don't want to say commitment issues, but do you worry about investing too much in a relationship because, or in a community or in a person, because you're thinking, I know me and I might be in Peru in a week or two?
This is definitely what I'm going through right now, but I can, in a different way, I'm gonna tell you. So yes, when you're too comfortable by yourself, and it's kind of addictive too, because you have a lot of, if you get to all those, if you can face yourself, then you get to that peace, the peace of solitude, you know? And so when you have that peace, it's really difficult to enter people in, because you're like, I'm feeling all this peace, why should I enter my life to another person? But at the same time, that person brings you many things that you can actually not meet by yourself. So you need also other people. So
sorry, but you're also setting the schedule, and you've got all the control of everything, right? As soon as somebody else comes in, you're seeding some of that. You might be deciding to do something together instead of by yourself, and so it can be a very powerful feeling to be alone, right? Because you're setting the agenda by yourself.
Yes, it's difficult to enter people in because you have a lot of freedom when you're by yourself, and you have a lot of peace, and you're like, oh my God, now I have to talk to somebody if they want to do it, if they want to travel, if your path, my path. So I feel like with commitment issues and everything that is said in relationships or in community, it is very difficult. It has been extremely difficult because you're always on the move, and it's important to know your path, because I feel like, okay, I'm on my path, but if I meet somebody at a point and then we're together for like 2 months, and then but they're going to stay in this place, and I know that there are all these other places that they have been calling me. So there has been many times I've sometimes I try to stay a bit longer, and then I feel like, no, I just really have to go. So it's important to know your path. And I mean, when I do therapy, I feel like it's just, sometimes I feel like it's selfish because I'm too selfish. Sometimes I feel like, well, if I stay there for that person, I'm ignoring what I want. I'm betraying myself in a way.
Would you tell a potential partner to stay away from you?
Stay away from me? No,
Yeah.
no.
In other words, like, listen, be careful because I might take off.
I say that on the first time I meet them. Yes, from the beginning. It's not something that after 3 months I would say. I just say, this is me. This is the way I live. I'm here for 2 days or 2 months or 2 hours or 2 minutes, or 2 years. And now this last year was a very interesting year for me, because I have had like a year of complete solitude, not being with anyone emotionally or sexually, and then I've had moments of like very intense meetings.
With intent? You've decided you don't want to be with anybody, or it just happened that way?
It just happened that way. Yeah, like I feel like when love comes, you get it with your both hands, because then you just know, you don't know. It just didn't happen. And that's actually, I've finished my book finally. Thank God. But yeah, I'm always open to love. I'm always open to it, but I'm always honest from the first day that this is me. I actually love to, I don't feel like I have commitment issues. It's just that I don't know if sometimes I use the word selfish for myself, but it's just difficult. So I just try to be honest, to not break anybody's heart from the first day. This is me, this is my path. I'm the person that I feel like I could stay here for 10 years, but at the same time, if the road is calling, I might go. So I'm a nomad.
Right.
And so
you can't be with a Qirati person who's going to be
no.
like, you're spending how much time with the penguins?
Or by yourself to where and live with who?
Right.
No, I mean, Latinos are like that a bit too. I don't have any Iranians around me. It's mostly all Latinos, but yeah, it's difficult, but it's the price that you give for it. You give something, you get something. So at this point, I've just accepted it, that this is how I'm choosing it to be. I can choose other things, and this is what I'm choosing.
Melica, the question that probably comes to mind for most people if they start to learn about your journey or follow you is around fear. how you deal. In fact, at the book launch or the book the signing that you had here in Toronto, I think that was asked by a couple of different ways by different people. But wait, aren't you scared? Which is a natural feeling for many people to have. Some people feel uncomfortable walking down the street in Toronto in the daylight, let alone going to a completely new place as a woman with language, an Iranian woman, etc. What have you learned? Let me ask it this way. What have you learned about how you answer that question? Has your answer to that question evolved, or has it stayed consistent? And what is it?
It has definitely evolved, and I let it evolve as well. It's always evolving because we are always changing, So before I would say like I feel the fear, but I move, and now I feel like actually I'm afraid all the time. This morning I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, the list of the to-do list that I have for today, and I have to come here and I have to go there. Oh my God. And what if I go to the book launch? Before every book launch, I have this fear. Let me tell you about my fears. That like, what if people don't come? Or what am I going to do with all these books that I ordered? Because I have self-published a book and I'm self-organizing the book. So it's not just about just my book, but I'm like thinking about all aspects of it. It's all in my hands.
But is that the same fear as I'm going to a small town in Colombia?
It's different fears, but it's all like that's the thing. Like after all this time, imagine I have fear for these small things, let alone other things. Right. Yes, that the small town. I feel like I've always thought, what's the worst thing that can happen? And the answers can be very scary. But the thing is that if I really wanna, for me, regret is always more scary. Like the pain of doing and the pain of not doing. The pain of that, like when you're afraid of doing, it's like kind of like painful, So there are two options. What are the options when you feel, what are you feeling actually? Like I try to ask myself, okay, what are you afraid of? And then the answers are too scary sometimes. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I answered that now. Okay, I have all this fear. I want to go to this town in the Amazon. I can just not go, right? I'm afraid, and I can just say, I'm afraid, I'm not going to do it. Or I really want to do it, and I'll just go and I'll take the risk because it's a big risk, and then I'll know, And to be honest, over time, just like a muscle, like muscle memory, over time, the fear it's not that you are fearless or you feel it less. It's just that you just remember that, the first times are extremely difficult, and it's the first step, the first plane, the first town, the first time you're in a place where you don't know the language, the first volunteer job, all of them. Those are the ones that have been the most difficult. And after that, I have always felt the fear. It's just that I remember that. Okay, remember you felt this fear, but last time nothing happened and it was all good, and that's why you're taking the next step. So let's just do it. Let's just jump again. It's just like a muscle memory for me at this point, that it's not that I don't, it's like exercising, that sometimes you still suffer it's not that if you've exercised twice, your muscles are just done and they don't feel the pain anymore. You still feel the pain. It's just that you remember that I felt good after exercising, or it was very good that I went to the gym. I see it that way, in a way,
Maybe fear, if we segue from fear to caution or concern about the kind of things that can happen, maybe something less nefarious than like a lion jumping on you or something, but I mean somebody taking advantage of you. Somebody said to me the other day, they said, because I always say, I'd love to go to Iran, and I can't go there because I've been outspoken about things and political and whatever. And they say, I was saying to somebody who recently came from Iran, I really want to go to Iran. I really want to travel. And they said, yeah, go travel, but don't ever stay there. And I was like, why? You get eaten up. People would take advantage of you. You're like a Westerner who's innocent and believes everybody. And you're going to go there and people are going to con you, and you're going to be... and I kind of get it. I've had some experiences like that in the Middle East where I feel like a naive person because I come with this Canadian mentality. Talk to me about that. Have you had experiences that were heartbreaking in terms of people taking advantage of you?
Well, not in that way, because first of all, no, I can say no, because I was a 20-year-old with only a backpack. I didn't have much. Like I feel like there wasn't much to take advantage. They couldn't take advantage of what exactly? It could be physically that what you can say, but I always feel like if I'm writing to somebody, it's funny because even through social media, you can feel if you connect with somebody or not, right? So when you read your host's profiles and then their reviews, you feel like if they're I feel like if they're a safe person or not. And I write to them. And even when I'm hitchhiking, it's not that I'm going to get in any car that stops in front of me. I talk to them. I feel like if they're safe or not. And 99.9% of the time, my feeling is right? And many times I do stop or I say I don't go there.
Even you saying hitchhiking. I mean, people are watching. Ya Ali, what's she doing? Like, please, no. Right.
But in Latin America, and maybe that's why I love those people. It's just that people, they just gave everything. I'm just this girl who don't even speak their language, coming from far. I come from a country where all they hear from Iran is Iran war. They've opened their doors, their arms, they share meals with me. They're like my family, all of them. And people people who like pick me up, this couple who are like on their road trip, they pick up this girl. I can be dangerous to them too. Especially when I say I'm from Iran,
Right,
so,
right.
You know what I mean? So
do
it's
you
both
think
ways.
that the words get used with you, like fearless? Do you feel fearless?
No, not at all. I feel like
do you feel
can take
courageous?
risks. I do.
Okay.
I do.
And
I take risks.
You're diminutive. You're not it's not like you're a big...
I'm strong, but I'm small.
You're small, yeah. I mean, you're physically not somebody who would, you're not imposing. It's not like, she'll take care of the town, she's, I mean, you're it was an interesting segue. Let me segue out of something you just said about where you come from, etc. How has being an Iranian woman both shape the way people perceive you as you travel and how you perceive yourself as you travel?
In Iran, we think we're Persians and we come from this history. And I thought everyone in the world would know where Iran is. I thought everyone loves Iran. I'm from Tehran, and Tehran, the capital. I really
You really thought that everybody loves Iran?
Yes, I did. Yeah. And so the first person that I met who didn't know where Iran is, I was in Chile, and this guy, he was like, and like on a bus, and he's like, where Iran? ¿Dónde es Iran? Where is Iran? And I'm like, what? So I realized I'm nothing. I am, I come from this place that is so far, but I'm a nobody at the same time, So it definitely changed how I express myself nowadays. In Mexico, for example, they watch a lot of like Turkish series. So I say, Iran, you know where's Turkey, right? And like, yeah, so it's a country next to there, like from Middle East, the heart of Middle East, Persia, like it depends on like who are you talking to. If they're like in their 60s, they probably know about the revolution, some things. If they're younger, they might not even know the difference between Iran and Iraq, So I realize I'm nobody. For them, it's just a place so far. Some of them, they even think it's in Africa.
So rather than preconceptions of who you may be, in the case of the places that you're visiting, they have no conceptions.
Many of them, they've had no conceptions of where is Iran.
And what about the way you perceive yourself? I mean, how has the journey changed your relationship with being Iranian?
I've hated being Iranian at many times. Every time at a border that they would judge. First of all, they can't open your passport because it opens from right to left. Then when they open your passport, finally, they see your photo with the scarf, and then they look at you in the eyes, and I'm like, there, hi, just like now, like with a backpack. So every time that which is many times, like at every country that I faced, like, oh my God, all these other travelers, even from Israel, for example, all these young people from Israel, they were like traveling all over South America without even, I'm like, they're from Middle East, I'm from Middle East. Why was I born in this country, So I've hated being Iranian, specifically at the borders when I'm applying for visas, at the migrations, at the embassies, at the consulates. But then with people, that's the interesting part. They, especially in Latin America, because here they've met any Iranians. I feel like in Europe they've seen all Iranians. People love it. So it's the opposite. people would host me just because I'm Iranian. People would take me as a volunteer even if I have no experience in gardening. This family in Argentina, they have 14 llamas, and they wrote only volunteers with experience. I didn't even know which plant is a tomato, which plant is lettuce. I had no clue, at 20-year-old. And they hosted me and they wrote to me, just because you're Iranian, and you can stay as long as you want. So I've loved it and I've hated it, this love-hate relationship. But at this point where I am right now, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be able to speak Farsi. I'm grateful to know what identity is, because it's very important. I think it's very important to have come from a place where it has a lot of identity and history, and I'm grateful for the food. I'm grateful for the people. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of things. I don't choose to live in a place like this. I don't know how you do it, but I don't choose to live
a place like this. Meaning Toronto? Wait, what do you mean by that?
Like the amount of Iranians that are here.
It's too much for you.
I don't choose to live in a place where there's a huge Iranian community. Most of the time it's only me, or it has been me and a few other people.
I'm very curious to hear why.
We have a lot of traumas. We have a lot of traumas.
Yes.
And for me to get away from them, or at least try to fix them, I've needed to have my distance and be close at the same time. So now I like this, that I can visit and I'm in touch. But yeah, I don't know, maybe because I grew up in Latin America in a way, but I choose to be within them.
Do you feel, we've had people on the show before who've said, I don't know if it was Shohra al-Ashlu or somebody said, I left, it was when I was living outside of Iran in America that I learned how Iranian I am. Do you feel closer to being Iranian or further away from it now?
Further away from it now. And it might change. My answer might change if you talk to me in a few years, But again, I feel like it also depends at what age you leave Iran. And again, people in America, they do have access to all that food and people. I have had no access. I've chosen it, but at the same time, I've had no access. Like, imagine 7 years of not being around Iranian communities, having visits. That's all I've had, especially after COVID. Before COVID, not even visits. So
when they take you to the kababi here, do you get triggered? Did you have
I love
traumatic
to
reaction?
See it. No, not at all. It's just that I feel like for my growth, I needed to have my distance, and I feel like it might be difficult to still be in the same community.
Is the way you have, I'm not sure if I read this correctly, but somewhere that you had said you actually feel like a Latino.
Yes, I said that at my event.
Well, that was where it was. And do you feel, how do you answer the question now? If somebody meets you in Mexico and says, "Where are you from?" That famous question. How do you answer it?
How
would you even answer that?
I'm from. I was born and raised in Iran, and I've been living in Latin America for almost 8 years. That's how I would answer. And it's just that, like when I was in Iran, I was a kid and I was a teenager, right? But in all my adult life, all in Latin America. So I feel that I belong to both at the same. I don't feel that I don't belong to none. I definitely feel that a part of me. Everything that happens in Iran, it shakes me completely. So I do. But at the same time, if something happens in southern Argentina, that shakes me as well. You have no idea the news that I know about all Latin America. Like, if I know that in a place that I was volunteering in Colombia and now something has happened, a flood or a storm, or I write to them, and the same thing if an earthquake happens in Iran. So I see that, I feel them both in me. But I feel like I'm definitely, a part of me is a Latina, and they see, it's just also because they tell me that, or they see me as one of themselves. They don't see me as a foreigner. They see me that you are one of us. So when you see that, when you're being received like that for 7 years, then you feel that same way as well.
Melica, do you feel like this is do you feel like you're still on a journey? I mean, we're all on a journey. But do you feel like this is still an adventure, or that this is your life now? You're living, this is the way Melica lives?
It's the second one. This is my life now. This just, yes, like people who would say, no, I definitely get excited. I don't eat meat, but I definitely get excited to go to all these amazing Iranian shops. I do not get triggered at all. I love it. And we went to this place, and they're like, we were having like ice cream, and then this, and then that, and then tea, and then dates, and then this. And I'm like, it was in LA, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna gain 4 kilos. Like, no worries, you're just on a trip. And I was like, oh no. Right. This is my life. If I want to think, people, they're like, I'm just traveling, I can eat whatever I want, I'm just not going to exercise. I'm like, if I would think that way, I don't know how I would look right now, or like what kind of lifestyle. It's just traveling is part of my lifestyle. So again, I have to have my own routine while moving all the time, because now I take groups to different parts of the world, even if I do have my base. Now I'm on my book tour, and it's in Farsi. Who knows if it's going to happen in English, in Spanish. Then traveling, like, it's just part of my life right now. And I'm always, that's one of my greatest challenges, to find the routine while moving all the time. But it's, to be honest, I'm choosing it consciously every day, and I love it. I love it. This is what it's my choice.
Some people take comfort in being in one place and having things. I need my things. I need my chair, you've learned that you don't need that.
I've learned that I don't need that to be happy, and that won't give me any kind of satisfaction. That's what I've learned about myself. Again, it's all great. You cannot be only here. You cannot be only spiritual and not like materialism is also very important. Money is important. It's like the balance, but that doesn't give me any satisfaction. And then an earthquake can happen, the fires can happen, what happened in LA, a few months ago, people losing all their things, their chairs, their photos, and then it's like, who am I?
Right.
What do I really have? Right. Or then when we die, because people say, you're young, you have time. Who knows? We don't know if I'm gonna get to Montreal today. Maybe. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really know. We think we know.
I know you got to go. A couple of final questions. It was just before we started talking. You said that you're here in Toronto. We won't out the person, but you said you've been staying with somebody who is your high school friend.
My high school best friend, yes.
And had you seen your high school best friend before now?
So she visited me 6 months ago in Mexico after a long time, after 7 years.
Because if she were here right now, if I'd known, I might have invited her. I would be curious what her answer would be as to how different is Melica today after this remarkable and, I think, courageous and beautiful journey that you've been on, that you've shared with the world over the last 7-8 years. That continues. How different is Melica today than the Melica you knew when you guys were 16? What do you think she'll say?
She would say I'm the same, because I'm the same with my friends. Like this, I met this other friend from Iran in Toronto, and I had no idea she's been living here for the last 2 years. So she writes to me, and I'm like, "You're here?" She's like, "Yes, I've been here. I moved here, with all the work permit visa." And she's like, "You're the same," and I'm like, "Thank God I'm the same, because my essence is the same." I feel like that. But maybe maybe it's just a cup of coffee, I'm the same. Maybe if they see my life, I'm not the same. You know what I mean?
A final question to you. This is probably not even hypothetical. It probably happens because I see you're interacting with people around the world, and probably a lot of people in Iran, and probably a lot of young women in Iran. So if a young woman in Iran says to you, I want to do what you've done, I want to be you, I'm in my teens and I want to explore and do what you've done, but I'm afraid, what do you say to her?
First of all, I would say, don't follow me. I'm lost too. Don't want to try to be you, you don't have to take a backpack and go to South America. I feel like what they see, Jian is your correct name, right?
Yes.
I say Jian. I feel like, Jian, what they see is not that. Most of them, they don't even want that lifestyle. They just want to maybe be free or live the way that they want to live. That's what this is giving to them. So I just want to say, go inside and see how do you really want to live, and be you. Don't be me. Be you. And that's what you're seeing, by the way. You want to be you while watching me. And I'm so glad that you want to be you, but try to be you. And if that's it, I'm afraid it's just take the first step. And the fear, just take the first step. That's what I always tell them. The first step is the most difficult one. You cannot just say, just take the first step. But that's what I say, because focus on that first step. Don't think
what is the first step? Buying the backpack, getting on the plane, landing in Venezuela? Well, I don't even know which one those are. I very much appreciate you making the time.
Thank you.
I can't wait to do it again and learn more from you. I hope the book will be published in English and Spanish as well, so that some of us can enjoy it in different languages. Merci. Thank you for this.
No, you're welcome. I'm so glad that I could make it as well. And I'm so glad that I'm having interviews for Iranians. I have many friends also that they would appreciate this. Or my cousin, for example. I have cousins that they don't speak Farsi. They don't speak only English. So thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for your time, for your questions. And I hope that I've answered them. Yeah, I've answered your
Not
questions.
at all.
Thank
It was
you.
a disaster. But nevertheless, we soldier on. Just take the first step.
Just take the first step. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So good to have Melica on the show. What an amazing personality, and what a brave soul she really is. If you don't follow her and that interview didn't convince you, I don't know what to tell you, but you should, because what she does is quite interesting and heartwarming. Meliiica. Melica is the way she writes it on Instagram. Thanks again to her for coming by. And she does have that new book too that I assume you can order online via her Instagram page as well. This is full time for Rook for today. Remember, Rook Live 5 is coming October 2nd. Tune in to our show next week, episode 385, and I will be announcing the lineup for Rook Live 5 and the way to get tickets. Thanks to the amazing team who put this show together each week. Super Parisa, Sabi Roham, Tina the photo and video queen, and the talented Anahita. Special thanks to Smart Pega, Methodical Kaveh, Charming Kimia, the CK, Solid Samin, and thanks to the TRK, the Rising Keon, for your help. Thank you to all of you out there for supporting us and sharing our content. Do subscribe if you haven't done so already on any or all of our platforms. You can find us on Instagram at Rook Media. You can find me on Instagram at Jian Ghomeshi. And as ever, I implore you, please, Mizun Bashi.